you're on your own. Step by step, looking for experiences and fresh ideas wherever you are, whenever you are. Sometimes happiness is just a moment away. Sometimes you have to let go to feel it. There is an art to enjoying life. In every moment there is something unique. Discover the attraction of the unknown. It all seemed familiar, suddenly everything is new. Open yourself to life, and it will celebrate you. Use the change of perspective and dare to look into the distance. Open your eyes. Let them wander. Get on board and see what happens. Keep an eye on your future. Make tradition your vision. Life's a game whose rules only you determine. Be active. Have fun. Feel the freedom. Feel free. To embrace love. Embrace changes. Embrace life. Life is a river. Let it flow. Catch it. Embrace it within your life with all its nuances. And then life flows into you like music. Every step becomes easier. The feeling fills your soul with satisfaction. And then, boom, you meet yourself. The river takes you with it. It's the time of your life. And when you take a second look at the big picture, you suddenly become aware of it. It's your life. It's your river. Life by the river.
Good morning and welcome to our latest webinar. Now, before we begin, let me remind you that we have a wonderful prize to be won. A 3-night stay in a 4-star hotel including breakfast, a Dresden Regio Card, and a hop-on, hop-off city tour for 2. Pay good attention because we will be announcing the winner at the end of the presentation. Stay with us, listen carefully. There will be a question for you to answer. Remember, you have to be online to be in line to win this prize. Now, there are many ways to define culture and beauty, but they can be easily summarized in just one word: Dresden. The sheer wealth and splendor of the cultural treasures, just a stone's throw from the Elbe plains, are enough to take your breath away. My guest this morning is Christoph Munch from Dresden Marketing, someone who's dying to fill you in on all the information on Dresden. Good morning, Christoph. Great to have you.
Good morning. Good morning, Charles, and good morning to our audience.
I guess where we should start, Christoph, is for those who may not know, Dresden, where is it? How do we get there? Over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. Dresden indeed is a symbol of beauty and variety, and it's easy to reach. So we are right in the heart of Europe. We are between Berlin and Prague, and you can get there by plane directly from London or with stops in Frankfurt and Munich or in Amsterdam. But it's also with just one stop or 2 stops by train via the Eurostar tunnel. And Dresden itself is embedded in a beautiful landscape of Saxony. Dresden is the capital of Saxony. So in the north you have the Lausitz area, which is inhabited by the Sorbs, so it's a bilingual area of Germany. We have in the south the Ahr Mountains, the capital of Christmas, and in the southeast the Saxon Switzerland, the beautiful national park. And Dresden together is connected or embedded in the Elbland, so Saxony's wine area. Dresden itself is also full of variety. So we have not only the center, the historic center, but we also have a lot of interesting suburbs, especially suburbs settled with beautiful villas of the 19th century, but also with forests, with greens and beautiful landscapes. Well, that's an idea of Dresden, and that's also a reason why Dresden has been chosen even by Hollywood producers to be the frame of many Hollywood movies. The most recent one is Tar, which was nominated for the Oscars. Unfortunately, they didn't get an Oscar, but it had really good critics. But there's also Charlie's Angels, Cinderella, and The Danish Girl. And we might have a look first in one of these videos in The Danish Girl, which is a story of the first transgender operation in the world, which happened in the 1930s. And it's a very moving story. And the Hollywood filmmakers, they used the money to rebuild or re-erect the tombstone of Lily Elbe, the first transgender person in the world.
Surgery has never been attempted before.
You're my whole life. It could kill you.
It's my only hope. This is not my body. I have to let him go. I love you because you're the only person who made sense of me. Who made me possible.
Well, The Danish Girl goes back to the 20th century, and Cinderella movie, you see it on the picture of the Dresden Swinger, which was used for Hollywood as well, goes back to the 18th or an imaginary past. Tar really brings us to our current atmosphere. If you see Tar, you think it's all about Berlin, but in reality, it's a lot of Dresden inside, especially the concert hall, the Kulturpalast, and the Dresden Philharmonics. So there's a little video which shows the making of Tar from the Dresden Philharmonic's point of view, and I would like to have you a look inside that to get an impression.
Plötzlich klingelte das Telefon. Uwe Schott von X-Filme war dran, der Produzent.
Ist wirklich was Tolles los jetzt hier.
Der Tag ist extrem lang, von 9 bis 19 Uhr. Und wenn man da einfach zuguckt und aufnimmt, es wird nicht langweilig.
Man kann das ja gar nicht einschätzen, welche Dimensionen das Ganze hat. Und was hier auf der Bühne passiert, ist so eine Mischung aus Genialität und Chaos. Und da dabei zu sein, ist einfach ja, großartig.
Es ist viel Warterei, aber trotzdem spannend.
Hier ist die Dresdner Philharmonie, die natürlich ein tolles Orchester ist und die trifft auf eine Dirigentin, die keine Dirigentin ist.
Ich habe ehrlich gesagt noch nie eine Frau am Pult gehabt. Von daher ist das jetzt das erste Mal mit der Kate am Pult.
Irre charmant. Und im Vergleich zu der ersten Probe, die sie mit uns hatte, ist es mittlerweile recht ordentlich. Also anfangs musste man gucken, dass Hauptsache sie stört nicht, aber jetzt, das ist nicht mehr so. Also wir kommen gut klar mit ihr jetzt.
Das finde ich so bemerkenswert, dass sie wirklich jede Wiederholung nutzt, um auch intensiver zu werden oder andere Facetten auszuprobieren. Also sie hat ein großes Repertoire an Gesten und Ausdrucksweisen.
Für sie ist das, glaube ich, auch total neu, vor einem Orchester zu stehen und der Respekt ist da, gegenseitig.
Wir in unseren Reisen tatsächlich auf das angewiesen, was von Cate Blanchett kommt. Und es funktioniert irgendwie einigermaßen, glaube ich.
Und plötzlich stellt man fest, dass eine Weltklasse-Schauspielerin wie Cate Blanchett die Situation absolut beherrscht und hinkriegt.
Sie muss sich, glaube ich, auch manchmal selber entspannen. Diese ganze Choreografie, die sie da als Dirigentin, die sie ja normal einfach nicht ist, lernen und dann macht sie immer mal wieder Witze, um sich zu entspannen.
Nina Hoss hat jetzt ein Vierteljahr Geige geübt und ich bewundere sie, weil sie hat mir sogar schon Einsätze gegeben, die ich verpasst habe. Also sie macht das unglaublich gut.
Wer hat schon die Möglichkeit, dieses Solo, dieses berühmte Trompetensolo in so einem Film mitzuspielen? Da freue ich mich sehr, dass es ich machen darf.
Wir werden verwöhnt mit einem guten Catering. So ist das unglaublich eigentlich. Also der Aufwand, der dahinter steckt, den kann ich nicht bemessen. Es ist einfach Wahnsinn. Wer das organisiert, muss echt einen Überblick haben.
Wenn du jetzt als Frau Solohornistin werden willst, wie bei uns, ich würde mal denken, das ist ein Zacken anspruchsvoller als Tutti-Geiger zu werden. Oder wenn du Solopaukerin werden willst, da gibt es bestimmt Vorbehalte. Kann eine Frau das und so?
Und es beginnt sich in die Richtung zu entwickeln, dass doch immer mehr Frauen auch auf dieses Dirigentenpult Zugriff bekommen werden. Und ich finde das sehr, sehr richtig. Und insofern finde ich den Film eigentlich sehr aktuell.
Ist das immer noch ein Thema?
Da muss sich was ändern. Wann sich das ändert, das liegt auch an uns, aber das ist, denke ich, ein Thema.
Also als ich hier angefangen habe, vor 25 Jahren ungefähr, da waren noch wenige Frauen im Orchester, aber das wurde von Jahr zu Jahr immer mehr und relativ normal. Im Orchester ist die Frauenquote ja so groß, dass man sich schon fast Sorgen machen muss um die armen Männer.
Ich glaube nicht.
Ich habe jetzt verstanden, im Film gibt es zwar so am Horizont auch sowas wie Arbeitszeitgesetze, aber im Grunde der Dinge wird 24/7 gearbeitet.
Mahlers 5. Symphonie ist natürlich das Stück, wo sich quasi in jedem Takt große Emotionen, große Ereignisse abspielen. Wenn der Film diese Arbeit eines Orchesters mit einer Dirigentin auch einem ganz allgemeinen Kinopublikum nahebringen kann, vielleicht entsteht dann der Eindruck, ey, das ist ja toll, was die da machen, was sich da abspielt, spannend und wow, die sind da hier in unserem Konzertsaal und das spielt im Film eine Rolle, ich gehe da jetzt ins Konzert. Das wäre natürlich ideal.
Stolz bin ich auf den ganzen Laden hier. Ich freue mich sehr, wenn der Film ein super Erfolg wird und dass wir da drin Platz gefunden haben, ist toll.
Yeah, great emotions in the music life, but you can have also great emotions just visiting the silence of the museums. And there's such a big treasure in the Dresden museums. One of the most important art galleries is the Old Masters Gallery in Dresden. And our 16 Madonna with the two cherubs is a real iconic painting with the two angels sitting like that. You find in all the Christmas wrapping, I'm sure, also in your country. So also the Vermeer, we have two Vermeers you can see in our museum, and a lot of Italian painting, Dutch painting, and really high class. Dresden offers also the biggest porcelain collection in the world with Chinese and Japanese porcelains, but also the very first porcelains created in Dresden and then in the Meissen manufactory, which is the oldest in the world as well. So among the many records we offer, we also have the biggest treasury museum in the world, founded mainly by the Saxon sovereign King Augustus the Strong, King of Poland, and Prince Elector of Germany. And it's all the bling bling. It's really amazing and astonishing to see all these treasures. And you might not expect, we also have the biggest Turkish collection outside of Turkey, because Augustus the Strong, he was really fascinated by collecting especially things from other cultures. And his residence has been rebuilt as well after World War II. The Residenzschloss, the Royal Palace, was completely destroyed and regained very faithfully in its old splendor. And you can see just his staterooms, an image of the staterooms. And there's also a statue of Augustus welcoming you in person. He did in lifetime about 300 years ago. But we also have the modern arts in the Albertinum. So you see Gerhard Richter, he is one of the best-selling and artists, contemporary artists, and he lives in Cologne, but he is originated from Dresden, and so Dresden has a very big collection of his works. But also the French Impressionism is represented in the Albertinum. Actually, the most important reason why to go to the Albertinum is the Romantic painting from the early 19th century. Especially you can see here on the picture 2 images by Caspar David Friedrich, a very important painter for the development of Romantic painting worldwide. There are also new ways to expose art and culture, especially in the so-called experience museums. So we have 2 of them. The one is the Fortress Festung experience, and the other is the Zwinger experience. And they make you dive in past times with augmented reality. Charles, do you like all these artworks?
Absolutely, Christoph. It's amazing how much Dresden really has to offer in terms of art and culture. I like the piece where you showed how much more involvement women are becoming in opera and, you know, conducting and so on. So yeah, there's, you know, Dresden seems to be leading the way there. So fantastic. I remember being in Dresden some years ago and going to the Semper Opera. Fantastic. It was really, really.
Actually,
Sorry,
music. Yeah, actually, music plays a very important role for Dresden, as you already could see in the Tar movie. And it's not just the Dresden Philharmonics, but it's also the Semper Opera, which is an iconic symbol of musical life in Germany. And I might come back to my slides and show you a little bit more about what Dresden offers music-wise. The Semper Opera House houses an orchestra, the second orchestra, or maybe also the first orchestra. I won't, the Staatskapelle Dresden, which is the second oldest orchestra in the world and always is among the top 10s by the music critics. And the opera house itself is the place where many operas had their first performances, especially the 9 opera by Richard Strauss. And the preceding building was the building where Richard Wagner was our chief conductor. And actually in Dresden, Wagner lived many years of his lifetime. He was born in also Saxony's city Leipzig, and then he spent his childhood partly in Leipzig and in Dresden. And then he went all over the world, from Latvia to England and Paris. And then came back to Dresden, where he was Kapellmeister for 5 years. And here in Dresden, he composed one of the most famous wedding musics, the so-called wedding march from in his opera Lohengrin, and just have a little insight in Lohengrin's music performed by the Semper Opera Ensemble and the Staatskapelle Dresden. Yeah, this was Wagner, and his preceder, Carl Maria von Weber, he is even very closely connected with London. He died in London after the first performances of his opera Oberon, for which he was commissioned to do that for the Royal Opera House in Covent Garden. So Weber, you can still stay at his home, which is a beautiful museum, and you just dive in the time of the 19th century. We already had a look inside the Kulturpalast and the Dresden Philharmonic, so I will get forward to the big choir tradition of Dresden. We have three great churches here. On the left side you see the Frauenkirche, which was destroyed in 1945. And what you can see there as organ is the replica of the organ which Johann Sebastian Bach himself inaugurated in 1736. The central image is the Kreuzkirche, and the Kreuz choir is one of the oldest boys' choirs with an almost 800 years tradition. And the right image is the Catholic Cathedral with an organ by the organ builder Gottfried Silbermann, who was a friend of Johann Sebastian Bach, and Mozart played this organ. And this organ even survived World War II. Yeah, but we also have very modern music in Dresden, and especially street music during the many summer festivities in our city, and especially in our Neustadt, the new town quarter on the northern banks of the Elbe River. What I like really is the big variety and the cultural offer in a city of a little bit more than 500,000 inhabitants. We really have whatever you desire from a big city. So even Europe's biggest travesty theater, or the Dresden State Operetta, which brings us a bit the Broadway flair to Dresden. And I have another video which I would like to share with you. We saw that Dresden was discovered by the Hollywood makers for a Cinderella movie, and the Staatsoperette has performed a Cinderella musical. And if you have a chance to see that in our theater, it's a great experience.
Well, Christoph, yeah, there's a wealth of information there. Absolutely, some fantastic videos, lots and lots of information that I didn't know. I thought I knew Dresden. Could you tell us what else there is from, for example, for someone who'd like to visit Dresden and from the culinary side, or perhaps go shopping? I'm sure that is on offer too. Perhaps you'd like to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, thank you, Charles. I would like to focus already regarding the culinary side to our favorite season, which is the Christmas season. Dresden has so many records And one is that we have the oldest documented Christmas market in Germany, and it's also one of the most beautiful Christmas markets, and surrounded even by other Christmas markets. So it's a great time to taste the Dresden Stollen, which is a Christmas cake. And so there's really much to see, not only in Dresden, but also in the Elbe. Yes, Dresden and the Elbe offer really a lot of great attractions for everybody. So for singles, for young couples, for families, for old couples, for active people, not just only enjoying music, but for example, to relax on our paddle steamer fleet, another record-breaking attraction of Dresden. We have the oldest and biggest paddle steamer fleet in the world. If you're more active, you can cycle along the Elbe cycling route, which goes from the Czech border along the Elbe River, through Dresden, through the Elbe, up to the Northern Sea to Hamburg. And there are some tour operators even bringing your luggage from part to part, but naturally we recommend stay in Dresden and do excursions by bike. For example, to Meissen, which is like a little Prague on a rock. You see the castle and a Gothic cathedral, then there's a medieval town underneath, and the oldest porcelain manufactory. Or discover the hidden gems. I know that the British are garden lovers. We have a lot of great gardens and parks of different styles, and some are really not crowded at all, and you still can enjoy the beauty of the romantic journeys in these gardens without a big crowd. Yeah, and naturally you will be hungry after all these attractions. We have great food as well. Charles, have you ever tried our specialties in Dresden?
Of course I have. I've tried all kinds of specialities in Dresden, but I haven't been there for many years. I don't know. Has there been any updated versions? What's the latest trend?
So the latest trend is the oldest trend. So the Stollen, for example, I already told you, you can eat, especially during Christmas time, but you can get it between October and January. It's a very heavy, fruity pastry, and it's really very tasteful. And the other one is the Eierschecke. You can get it all year long. It's a Dresden specialty cake, kind of cheesecake, but different. So you have to come here to try it. If you prefer to have a round the world tasting, you find also all kinds of restaurants. Naturally, you will find the German bratwurst, but less in the restaurants than in the stand outside in the streets. And in the restaurants, you have all kind of cuisine, but surely also the Saxon dishes, which are a bit heavy, but very tasteful as well. Dresden and the Elbe is famous for its beers. The Radeberger beer is very famous, and the Feldschlösschen, but there are also a lot of house breweries and craft beers. Many restaurants, especially in the Neustadt, have really trendy craft beer outlets. And we are a wine area. So Dresden is as north as London or Calgary in Canada. And we have a great so-called cool climate. That means we have hot days and cool nights, and this enables the grapes to develop a very rich flavor, which makes our wines really special. And there are a lot of different winemakers producing, among them 37 professional wineries, and you can discover them by bike or by walking along the Saxon Wine Trail. And it's a great discovery to see the different styles, from family-owned to the state winery, all the different styles. And for me, my personal highlight is having a wine picnic in the middle of the vineyards. One winemaker or several winemakers in Radebeul, that's the attached town to Dresden, they offer that. And you really have the Mediterranean style, and you really feel like not in the Florence of the Elbe, but in the Chianti of the Elbe. Yeah, and the trend from farm to table is also followed in Dresden. So these cows, for example, are owned by organic producer, organic farmer, and you see in the background Dresden in the Elbe Valley. So many restaurants have the local producers, and it's also one of the new trends we can talk about. You probably will also like to shop and to bring your personal souvenirs from Dresden Elbe from your holidays. And there's a lot of original things you can buy there. For example, the oldest porcelain in the world, the Meissen porcelain. So they have great things, from little souvenirs, affordable souvenirs, up to real great sculptures for €500,000. So, but it's also great visiting the manufacturer itself. And you can see, for example, in the showrooms how the porcelain is being produced. You can even produce your porcelain by yourself, or you can have a backstage tour in the porcelain manufactory. And at the end, you can enjoy, for example, a beautiful dinner in the porcelain manufactory, or joining a program where you can learn how to use different cups specialized for tea, coffee, or hot chocolate. All this is in the Meissen porcelain manufactory, and if you lose your time, no worries about that, because Dresden Elbe is also a very important producer of deluxe watches. So it's the capital of the watch production in Germany. And you might have heard about Lange und Söhne or the Glashütte Original. And other companies and trademarks are produced just 15 miles from Dresden. Yeah, Charles, I'm on the page of the hotels, and I would like to ask you, what could our audience win in our raffle?
Right, okay. As we said before, there's a wonderful stay for 2 people in a 4-star hotel in Dresden. Would you like to tell us which one it is, or is it going to be a surprise? Let's see. But anyway, would you like me to ask the question for our prize winner at this point?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
So
Okay.
I ask our audience to still follow our presentation.
Absolutely.
And I will go a little bit forward through the hotels, and I don't tell you yet which hotel you will stay. That will really interesting outlook for next year. We will be celebrating the 250th anniversary of Caspar David Friedrich. Maybe you remember the image I showed you of the Albertinum Museum, the Albertinum which hosts many of his masterpieces. And Caspar David Friedrich was the inventor, or one of the inventors or promoters of Romanticism movement in Germany and Europe. And there will be many exhibitions, a major exhibition in Dresden, which will be shown also in Hamburg and in his birthplace Greifswald, and some more accompanying exhibitions all over the year, all over the next year. We have the opening as well of a new Museum of Modern Arts. It's called the Archive of the Modernity, Archiv der Modernen, just on the other side of the river in the Neustadt area, in a formerly Baroque building. So the outer shape still is Baroque, but the interior is completely modern. And then we will have the opening next to the Operetta Theater, where we had the Cinderella movie, the Cinderella musical extract. There will be a new collection of puppets and marionettes, which is still in Dresden, but finally they will have their own museum. That's almost all our news, but we also have a interesting architectural news. So we will have the rebirth, the renaissance of a Renaissance artwork. So in the Royal Palace, we will have a great space of historic frescoes reinvented after historic engravings. These were not in color, but we knew that these frescoes were colored, and so modern artists, they really dived into the past with old techniques and compared with other artworks of that time, and they recreated this beautiful Renaissance decoration of the Royal Palace. And now it's part of the big question. Charles, might you do the honor of posing the question?
Absolutely, Christopher. It's my pleasure. So I hope you've all been paying attention. The big question, which leads to the big prize, is what is the surname of the painter who will be celebrated in 2024? Once again, what is the surname of the painter who will be celebrated in 2024? Your answers into the message now. Okay, Christoph, let's wait and see who our winner is going to be.
And in the meantime, we will have a very emotional video about Dresden and Dresdeners, why you also will love Dresden and the Elbland.
Dearest Dresden.
Dearest Dresden.
My dearest Dresden.
You are, for good reason, famous and very loved.
Back in the day, I discovered you were my perfect city.
The luckiest people were born here, like me.
You were such a sleepy place when we met. In contrast to today, you're blossoming.
I love how you tell your story, and yet constantly move forward. You can be so loud, and yet so peaceful.
You're always expanding my circle of friends. It feels like everyone knows each other. Dresden, you're a village.
You're home to so much creativity. You make me feel free and borderless.
You're a beautiful city with striking contrasts.
You're perfectly imperfect. Like me. Like us.
I know all your sides, dear city. Not just the pretty sides. And taking a step back from your Baroque comfort would do you some good. Let life and the years flow through you. Embrace changes. Be grateful. Home. Feelings and memories.
Good afternoon. Right, so it's time to pull out the winner of the prize draw, and the first name out of the hat to win a 3-night stay in a 4-star hotel including breakfast, a Dresden Regio Card for 2 and a hop-on hop-off city tour for 2 in beautiful Dresden with the correct answer of Friedrich is Madeline Fitzgibbon. Congratulations, Madeline. I seem to have lost contact. Can you still hear me? Well, congratulations to our lucky winner. I'm sure you're going to have a fantastic time in Dresden. Christoph, thank you so much for your input today. It's been a pleasure having you with us. Would you like to say a few words to our guests before we finish?
Thank you, Charles. Congratulations to our winner, but not only the winner winning a prize and stay in Dresden will be a winner. I think everybody of you discovering Dresden and the beauty of the Elbland will be a winner, the winner of great memories. And therefore, I hope to welcome you in our beautiful destination. Thank you, and see you in Dresden, Elbland.
So there we have it. Everyone's a winner. So even if you didn't win the big prize, go to Dresden. You're guaranteed to come back a winner. So thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you in our next presentation in the not too distant future. Goodbye.
You're on your own. Step by step, looking for experiences and fresh ideas wherever you are, whenever you are. Sometimes happiness is just a moment away. Sometimes you have to let go to feel it. There's an art to enjoying life. In every moment there is something unique. Discover the attraction of the unknown. It all seemed familiar, suddenly everything is new. Open yourself to life, and it will celebrate you. Use the change of perspective and dare to look into the distance. Open your eyes. Let them wander. Get on board and see what happens. Keep an eye on your future. Make tradition your vision. Life's a game whose rules only you determine. Be active. Have fun. Feel the freedom. Feel free. To embrace love. Embrace changes. Embrace life. Life is a river. Let it flow. Catch it. Embrace it within your life with all its nuances, and then life flows into you like music. Every step becomes easier. The feeling fills your soul with satisfaction, and then, boom, you meet yourself. The river takes you with it. It's the time of your life. And when you take a second look at the big picture, you suddenly become aware of it. It's your life. It's your river. Life by the river.